All right, let me cut across to Arvind Kejriwal as the Supreme Court now has heard Arvind Kejriwal's bail plea, refuses to pass an order until the High Court gives its order, which is scheduled for Tuesday. That's tomorrow. The bench of the Supreme Court says if we are passing the order, we will be prejudging the case before the High Court. Let the High Court first decide and then we take up the matter. Remember, the lower court had first granted Arvind Kejriwal bail in the liquor policy case, and then the Enforcement Directorate swamped in, argued before the Delhi High Court, saying that the lower court granted Kejriwal bail even before hearing arguments from the ED side. And then the Delhi High Court eventually asked for a stay for 2 days before giving a judgment, and that order is to come out tomorrow on Tuesday. And even before that, Arvind Kejriwal's counsel had approached the Supreme Court asking for an urgent hearing, saying it's his right to be let out on bail as the lower court had already granted him bail. Now, the Supreme Court saying we can't take a judgment before the High Court gives its order. Let the High Court decide first. We are passing the order. We will be prejudging. If we are passing the order, we will be prejudging the case before the High Court. Let the High Court decide first. Remember, Arvind Kejriwal has been in prison now for nearly 2 months. He was out briefly during the time of election when the Supreme Court granted him bail or interim bail for him to carry out campaigning during that period. And right on the day when he was supposed to go back to prison, Arvind Kejriwal appealed before court saying that his health was deteriorating and he wanted urgent bail as he wanted to get his health checkups done, etc. Aam Aadmi Party also has been often saying Arvind Kejriwal's health is deteriorating and therefore he must be let out on bail. Kanu Sharda, who tracks sports for us, giving us more on that. Kanu, expected order, expected lines. Supreme Court says let's first wait for the High Court to decide, then we take up the matter.
Because the legal team of Aam Aadmi Party has actually, moved really fast and didn't wait for the High Court to at least pronounce its order, which has only kept the orders for the judgment to be out till Tuesday. So this is what the Supreme Court is also reiterating and saying that, we cannot judge the High Court, which is already hearing us, already heard the matter and reserve it for orders. So you have to wait till then. Right now, when we are talking, the hearing is still going on inside the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is only trying to convince the Aam Aadmi Party lawyers that, you need to wait till the High Court decides the matter, because we will not be entertaining, because High Court is also a constitutional court, and we cannot step into the shoes of the High Court like this. But the lawyers for Aam Aadmi Party are saying that since Arvind Kejriwal is not a flight risk, he is still a serving CM of the national capital. He can be put out of jail, and has went on to say that he is already on bail and not giving him in liberty. Who is going to compensate for that? This question, Abhishek Manu Singhvi, who was appearing for Kejriwal, has questioned the ED counsel that they are seeking the stay on the extension, but what things should be happen if he is inside jail? What worse can happen? If the High Court decides to reverse the order of the trial court and send Arvind Kejriwal back to jail, he can always surrender. They are giving the example of the interim bail, in which the Supreme Court has granted him 20 days interim bail for the election campaign. And that is why Arvind Kejriwal's lawyers is contending before the Supreme Court that he has always followed the court's order. And when he was on interim bail, at the end of the interim bail, he actually went and surrendered to the Tihar jail officials. So he can do now also, if the High Court thinks that the bail granted by the trial court is not on the legal points. So this is all what, both the sides are being arguing. ED counsels are also present before the Supreme Court and are opposing on the ground that the High Court order needs to be out first, and then only the Supreme Court
and totally unexpected lines, as we know that the Enforcement Directorate quite quickly moved the High Court, saying they haven't been given a fair chance to argue on the matter, and until that argument is done, the court shouldn't be granting Arvind Kejriwal's bail, and therefore the Delhi High Court, observing the matter, did halt the bail of Kejriwal, and it appears now the Supreme Court also looking at the matter in the same view, that first the Delhi High Court decides on the case, and then if need be, the Supreme Court will intervene.